the New York Knicks stepped back into the win column with a performance that felt less like a regular season victory and more like a statement directed at the rest of the Eastern Conference. In a 130-132 shootout against the Miami Heat, New York pushed through immediate adversity, playing without Jalen Brunson, who is rehabbing a grade 1 ankle sprain, and losing OG Anunoby just minutes into the game due to a left hamstring strain. 2 starters down, the rotation forced into adjustments, and pressure high, the Knicks didn't flinch. Instead, they delivered a collective, disciplined, and inspired effort. These are the defining storylines from a win that elevated New York's standing even further. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Karl Anthony Towns set the tone early with a first half that demanded attention from anyone watching. He dismantled Miami's defense with efficiency and range, scoring 31 points on 11 of 16, shooting and knocking down 6 of 10 attempts from beyond the arc. With Brunson sidelined and Anunoby unavailable, Towns embraced the responsibility of becoming the primary scorer. His impact kept New York competitive throughout the opening stretch and prevented the Heat from seizing early control. Although his scoring tapered off after halftime, his early dominance anchored the Knicks, reinforcing exactly why the organization brought him to New York. He's capable of taking over games when circumstances require it, but the second half belonged to Landry Shamet, who produced one of the most memorable performances of the Knicks' season. After entering the break with just 6 points, Shamet erupted for 30 more in the second half, ending the night with a career-best 36. His rhythm was unmistakable. He hit 12 of 19 from the field, drained 6 threes, and attacked Miami's defense with total confidence. Signed on a 1-year, non-guaranteed deal worth just over $3 million, Shamet is emerging as one of the league's most valuable bargain acquisitions. His poise, shooting reliability, and connection with the New York crowd suggest he may have finally found long-term footing after spending 8 seasons with 6 different franchises. For a Knicks team that values floor spacing and stability, his breakout could not be better timed. Mitchell Robinson, meanwhile, made his presence felt without recording a single point. Limited to 14 minutes due to early foul trouble, Robinson still collected 10 rebounds, 8 of them offensive. Those second chance opportunities became pivotal during stretches when New York needed to reset possessions and maintain control of the tempo. Robinson continues to lead the league in offensive rebounds per game, despite playing limited minutes, and his per 36 numbers remain historic. His relentless activity on the glass changes outcomes, shifts momentum, and instantly influences the energy of the game. Even Heat defenders had difficulty containing him under the rim, and Knicks head coach Mike Brown made his feelings crystal clear on the sideline. Freaking Mitch Robinson. Oh my god, 8 freaking offensive rebounds. Way to go, Mitch! Yet the biggest takeaway from the night is what this victory says about the Knicks as a whole. Against the fastest-paced team in the NBA, New York matched Miami's tempo possession after possession, blending composure with aggression. Every player who stepped on the court left a mark. Mikal Bridges didn't find his rhythm shooting the ball, but responded defensively with 7 steals, disrupting Miami's perimeter flow. Jordan Clarkson added 24 points with his usual mix of shot creation and fearlessness, and Josh Hart delivered another signature all-around performance, finishing with a triple-double, his 16th in a Knicks uniform, and setting the emotional tone for the team. This win, produced without Brunson and Anunoby, speaks to the growing identity of a Knicks roster built on depth, toughness, and versatility. They aren't just surviving difficult nights, they're imposing themselves on quality opponents. And if this is what they look like shorthanded, the rest of the Eastern Conference may be in serious trouble once the lineup is back to full strength. When complete, the New York Knicks are positioning themselves as the team to beat in the East. The New York Knicks received a meaningful boost ahead of their next matchup with the Miami Heat, as the team learned encouraging new details about Jalen Brunson's ankle injury. Since going down late in the loss to the Orlando Magic, Brunson's status has been at the center of concern for both the franchise and its fan base. Now, there's a clearer picture of where he stands and what the Knicks might expect in the coming days. Brunson injured his right ankle with under 2 minutes left in the game against Orlando, collapsing to the floor after a drive to the rim. Even before the injury, he had been the most productive player on the court, finishing with 31 points and 6 assists. The diagnosis was a grade 1 sprain, the mildest form, but it immediately raised alarms because it's the same ankle that sidelined him for 15 games last season. That history alone has the Knicks moving carefully, determined to avoid a setback as they look ahead to a demanding road stretch and the high-stakes games that await them. ESPN's Cassidy Hubbarth provided the most detailed update yet, reporting that Brunson is officially day-to-day and, importantly, already off crutches. That single detail signals a notable step forward in his recovery timeline. According to Hubbarth, Brunson received treatment throughout the day, and the organization is optimistic he could join the team on its upcoming 5-game road trip. Whether he actually plays during that stretch will come down to one factor: pain tolerance. And in Brunson's case, Hubbarth emphasized that tolerance is pretty high. For the Knicks, this development is more than just medical progress. It represents stability at a moment when the team is trying to build rhythm, chemistry, and momentum in the early phase of the season. Brunson is not only the offense's primary decision maker, he's the team's emotional engine, the player teammates look to when the game tightens. Even a brief absence can shift the structure of New York's rotation and force others into expanded roles. But if there was any doubt about whether the Knicks could hold their ground without their star guard, their performance against Miami provided an emphatic answer. New York dismantled the Heat 140-132, delivering one of the most complete and explosive offensive performances of the season. Karl Anthony Towns led the barrage with a dominant 39-point night, scoring at all 3 levels and punishing Miami's interior defense. Landry Shamet delivered the surprise of the evening, erupting for a career-high 36 points off the bench, knocking down shots from every angle, and giving New York a spark rarely seen from its reserve unit. Jordan Clarkson added 25 more, providing the shot creation typically expected from Brunson, and Josh Hart continued his do-everything impact, notching his first triple-double of the season: 12 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists, a testament to how seamlessly he adjusts his role depending on what the moment demands. New York never trailed after halftime, building a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter and outworking Miami in transition, on the glass, and in half-court execution. It was the kind of victory that resonated beyond the box score, a message that the Knicks have the depth, balance, and confidence to withstand adversity, even when one of their cornerstones is unavailable. Now, attention turns to the rematch on November 17th in Miami, a game carrying significant weight in the NBA Cup standings. The Heat will be desperate to respond on their home floor, while the Knicks aim to prove that their last performance was no fluke. The looming question is whether Jalen Brunson will be part of that showdown. His return would immediately shift the dynamics of the matchup, giving New York its primary playmaker back and restoring the structure of the offense. But even if Brunson isn't ready, the Knicks have already shown that they won't be outmatched. They've demonstrated offensive versatility, defensive resilience, and a next man up mentality that can sustain them through stretches when key players are unavailable. With or without their star point guard, New York heads into Miami with renewed confidence and the reassurance that their franchise leader is trending in the right direction. A blockbuster storyline is unfolding across the NBA landscape, and the New York Knicks find themselves positioned squarely at its center, with the Dallas Mavericks abruptly parting ways with President of Basketball Operations Nico Harrison. The franchise is suddenly navigating unfamiliar territory. The shakeup has raised questions about Dallas's long-term vision and triggered an avalanche of speculation that now directly intersects with the future of Mavericks star Anthony Davis. As confusion swirls around Davis's status and the direction of the Mavericks organization, a dramatic 3-team trade proposal has resurfaced, one that places the 8-time All-Star and former NBA champion on a collision course with Madison Square Garden. What seemed like an abstract idea weeks ago is now being discussed with renewed seriousness, particularly as the Knicks continue to manage uncertainty surrounding Jalen Brunson's ankle injury. The timing, the circumstances, and the shifting dynamics across multiple franchises have created the perfect storm. According to Bleacher Report's Eric Pincus, the Mavericks' internal instability could end up serving as the catalyst for one of the boldest multi-team trades in recent memory. Pincus laid out a scenario involving New York, Dallas, and the Brooklyn Nets, a framework built on the premise that each team is heading in a different competitive direction. From the Knicks' standpoint, the opportunity to acquire a generational big man may be too significant to ignore, especially as the organization looks for ways to elevate its ceiling beyond the early rounds of the postseason. Dallas, meanwhile, is confronting a moment of truth. With Harrison gone, interim decision-makers Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi are left to determine the future of a roster that has struggled to establish consistent identity despite its star power. Pincus framed the dilemma directly. The question for interim leaders Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi is, now what? Do they try to improve the squad for a postseason run, or start a proper rebuild around 18-year-old rookie Cooper Flagg? That question alone underscores the magnitude of what Dallas is weighing. A reset around Flagg, one of the most highly anticipated prospects to enter the league in years, would signal a complete philosophical shift. It would also mean entertaining discussions involving players of Davis's stature if it helps reshape the organization's foundation. For Dallas, the situation remains complex. Davis continues to stand as one of the most dominant two-way forces in the league when healthy, a player capable of anchoring a defense, controlling the glass, and altering the rhythm of an entire game with his presence alone. But his timeline, his durability, and the Mavericks' broader roster concerns raise fair questions about long-term direction. If Dallas chooses to pivot, exploring a trade involving Davis, while still difficult to envision, can no longer be dismissed outright. Through 5 appearances this season, Davis is averaging 20.8 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 2.2 assists while shooting 52% from the floor. Those numbers not only reinforce his impact, but also reveal what the Knicks stand to gain. New York's front court would instantly transform, pairing Davis with a group built on toughness, defensive intensity, and a disciplined offensive structure. It would also lessen the burden placed on Brunson, who has carried the offensive load and is now dealing with the physical toll that comes with it. Brunson's ankle injury has become a pivotal factor in this growing narrative. While the team awaits his full return, the uncertainty forces the Knicks to evaluate every possible scenario. If the injury lingers or affects his performance, the front office may feel compelled to consider a significant swing, one that brings in another top-tier star capable of stabilizing the offense and redefining the organization's postseason trajectory. The broader context matters as well. The Knicks have spent the past 2 seasons assembling a roster built on continuity, balance, and depth. They've resisted flashy shortcuts and focused instead on building a sustainable contender. But opportunities to acquire a player of Davis's caliber rarely emerge without substantial upheaval somewhere else. And the turmoil in Dallas, combined with the organization's ambiguity about its future path, may be opening a rare window. That leaves New York at a crossroads. They can remain committed to the steady progress they've cultivated under their current structure, or they can take a calculated leap toward a superstar-driven model, one that carries risk but also offers the possibility of reaching heights the franchise hasn't seen in decades. The pieces, the timing, the uncertainty, it all sets the stage for what could become one of the most explosive trade discussions of the season. And as front offices across the league brace for the next wave of NBA movement, the Knicks suddenly find themselves standing closer than ever to a blockbuster that once felt impossible.